Alright, time for another Cardfight Vanguard Top 10. This time an updated list of cards I want to see remade. With the V era over, and with Bushy's announcement that they're still going to remake cards for V, with the reveals of Raging Form Dragon and Tetra Drive Dragon already going to be remake, I just had to do the updated list. Last time I had Phantom Blaster Overlord as the unit I want to be remade the most, which eventually did get remade. But now of course that list is outdated and we're all the way at the end of the V era where many of the cards have already been remade, so I'm just going to do an updated list right now. And just remember, this is my own personal top 10 and these are cards that I want to see. So let's begin. I'm going to spoil this right now. We're going to have multiple units in the same ranking in the list. Mainly because most of them have very similar reasons and they're considered really big for their series. And I'm mainly using boss units because they represent the deck. For my number 10, it's Vortex Dragonute and Whirlwind Dragon. Kagero is heavily dominated by Overlord and Blade Master, so I personally want to see other Kagero units actually get some love, especially for a budget option. Sure, we recently got Dauntless, but I would like to see another unit that goes along with it, so I chose Vortex Dragonute because it looks awesome. Especially because I like old Legion units getting some love as well. Number 9, Demon World Marquise Almon and Dudley Emperor. I still find it really weird that every other clan has their big ace units of the clan all been remade, but these two? Nope. For Almon there might be a reason, but for Dudley Emperor, I really don't know why. Number 8, Pinet Nor and Pinet Blank. It still really bothers me that all the other Quadra Knights have their units remade other than Rao Serra. I mean, sure, we did get his Neo Nectar, but I don't think that really represents him that much compared to Grand Blue, as he plays an Ice Steam deck, and this was the card that made the prison for Aichi, which of course represents his ice. And I also find it strange that they decided to make a completely new Grand Blue unit in clan selection instead of remaking this card. Number 7, Amaruta and Doomjeet. These two are the last of Rider units that need to be remade for one, and what I find stranger is that they haven't remade Amaruta yet, because Verno was in a game along with Kazumi, which Kazumi eventually got Shiranui later on, like few sets later, while Verno still hasn't got her Amaruta. And then for Doomjeet's case, he was basically a replacement for Shiranui as an apostle, and they already remade all the apostle units, other than Doomjeet, especially the original 6 members. Number 6, Grand Azel Scissors. This card could work as a final boss unit for Azel, and have some similarities to the Cross. I mean, Platina and Raven are both potential evolved forms for Azel, and Grand Azel can essentially be the combined power of both of them, and be considered Azel's ultimate form of light. Number 5, Sunrise Ray Radiant Sword Gurgurut and Shiranui Murkrow, both being evolved versions of their main character units. In Shiranui's case, it's his greatest form as the main antagonist, and Ryuzu already got his Chrome Tiger Rebellion, so it would make no sense if they did not remake Shiranui Murkrow. And then for Gurgurut's case, Taio is essentially supposed to be the Kamui of G, and also part of Striders, of which of course are teams of the main cast, and yet he's the only one without an evolved form of his main unit. I mean, yeah, sure, Gurgurut doesn't make much of an impact compared to Shiranui, and Shiranui has enough grade 3 space, but as a final boss unit, Murkrow would work, especially for Gurgurut as well. Number 4, it will be the second form of Tri 3 plus Kazuma of their main boss units. Chrono Dragon Gear Groovy, Transcending the Heaven Altmile, Randoculus of Gloom Asha, and Drag Strider Luard. Basically, I see all these as complete evolved forms. While the Tri 3 units are good as evolved forms, and Drag Driver as a half dragon form for Luard incomplete, I see these 4 units as their complete evolved forms, and their full powered forms as well. So seeing all of these would have been awesome. Especially for Luard's case. I would have actually played the Luard deck if they actually remade Drag Strider, because Drag Strider just looks awesome and badass, and it also felt very incomplete without it as well. But that's just me. Number 3, Interdimensional Dragon, Chronos Command Dragon, and Bind Time Dragon. Chrono's command was teased in the Vanguard If anime, but they never remade it, especially for the Chrono Jet deck. And then Bind Time Dragon was shown in many flashbacks in G, but they never remade it in the Shinamon arc. You know, the arc that takes place around that time? They could have done something where Bind Time Dragon was essentially one of Ryu's main boss cards, and then his final boss card is Chrono Tiger Rebellion, but nope, we didn't get any of that. Even though that these two were pretty much all teased and hyped up, they decided not to remake it. Number 2. White Dragonite Pendragon and Bluish Flame Liberator Prominence Core. I find it really weird that they decided to make their evolved forms but not their original forms. Pendragon is essentially the previous form of Sanctuary Guard before he takes in the dragon's power to become a dragon. And Prominence Core is a direct evolved form to Percival, and yet they revealed that we're getting Prominence Glare but not Prominence Core, which is supposed to be the full power form of Prominence Core. I just find it weird that they decided not to make the direct evolution of Percival first before going to the full power form. I mean, sure, he could just go full power right away, but I think it would make more sense to go in order, and especially because I love these units and they're awesome, and I do play a Sanctuary Guard deck, and I am very tempted to play Bluish Flames. Now, before I go to my number 1, honorable mentions. Let's start off with Amnesty Messiah, Exilix Messiah, and Harmonix Neo Messiah. I personally want a finisher in my Messiah deck, and I think any of these units will work, but technically we do have a final boss unit in the form of Harmonix Messiah, as that is its true form, while Alter Ego is essentially a miniature form of it. That's why this one didn't really make my list, even though I play Messiahs. Daunting Deleter Oxys. Deleters haven't got a bunch of support for a while, even though the latest Link Joker support did give them some deleters, but it didn't really do too much. But Oxys itself could make it as a final boss unit for deleters. Dimensional Robo Dai Kaiser. One of the biggest dimensional police units that usually stands side by side with Daiusha. They could have remade this unit instead of making Dailander. Especially, I know that many people were disappointed during clan selection when they decided to remake Zeal, but I see clan selection right now as a budget booster set for budget players, at least for majority of the decks. So having Dai Kaiser wouldn't really make too much sense because it's Dimensional Robo, and Dimensional Robo is considered to be the more expensive deck for DP. But with more remakes coming soon, hopefully they do make it. Drag Ruler Phantom and Chrono Tiger Gear Glare. Both can serve as final boss units for their respective decks. Gear Glare can essentially be the opposite of Gear Groovy, while Drag Ruler is the evolved form of Mordred, which could work as a finisher for the Blaster Dark deck. And finally, Aura Geyser Dragon and Doom. One of Kanzaki's biggest units, which he actually showed up in the anime, but they decided not to remake Aura Geyser, which I kinda find weird. But still, it wasn't the biggest deal to me considering that we still got Cleric Sword Dragon and many of the G units were still not being made yet, although not much of an excuse now. And now to my number 1. I had this on my number 2 last time, but this time it's on my number 1. It's Seeker Sing Saber Dragon. I still find it really weird that we got Soul Saber and Arc Saber, but not the other dragon that guards Arc Saber, which is supposed to be Sing Saber. I mean, unless if you want to count Phantom Blaster, which is supposed to be Corrupted Thing Saber, I would like to have the form before he was corrupted, aka Thing Saber, so we could get a final boss unit for the Blaster Blade deck, and it would actually work because Thing Saber works with Blaster Dark with Legion, so they could actually make some similarities with it. And also the fact that it was the main protagonist's ace unit during Legion era, that's actually a bigger reason why they should actually remake this card. So yeah, Sing Saber Dragon is my number 1. So that's it for this top 10. Yes, I know there's more than 10 cards, but most of them have very similar reasons, which is why I list some of them in the same rankings. And I also personally do not play most of these decks, but I would still like to see the units because I think they look awesome, and I personally find it weird that they didn't remake some of these. And some of it is just there because it's just awesome to have them, but that's just me. Go ahead and tell me below what is your wish list. I just gave you mine, so go ahead and tell me yours. And this will not include Raging Form Dragon and Tetradrive Dragon as they already announced those. But other than that, let's see what the overdress era brings us.